Did top out into the low 80s today. 82 the official high temp today in Augusta, so not too far away from average for us. Wanted to look at this view from our Clarks Hill cam, a beautiful outlook over the lake, and we just have a few clouds that have passed by so far today, not really producing much rain for us, and luckily as we roll into the weekend it does look to stay mostly dry. 82 the official high today. You can see over the last 3 days we've been very seasonal, so we really kind of leveled out our temperatures, and it looks like we're going to be locked into this pattern for the next couple of days. So for us here locally, our pressure is relatively high. So you can see for us here in the southeast, our pressure levels are over 1020 millibars, so that's where pressure usually gets pretty high, and centered over the northeast, so that's just bringing us kind of an easterly wind at the moment. But take a look across the Central Plains. They have pressure below 1,000 millibars, so that's impressive low pressure, and that is why they are actually dealing with some very significant weather out there across the plains for the rest of tonight, and actually for the rest of the weekend. Our pattern is going to be locked this way for the next several days, so they're actually going to have multiple rounds of severe weather there across the plains through this weekend. For us here locally, really just expecting some clouds to stick around, but not really expecting much in the way of rain. And with an easterly wind direction, just kind of keeps our temperature seasonal. Not really expecting a huge warm up, and definitely no big cool down on the way. So if you're heading out this evening, it does look dry for us. Temps will stay pretty mild 70s and 60s at least through midnight, and then by daybreak tomorrow morning we should be able to see the upper 50s across the region. Mostly dry tomorrow, but once again, not ruling out 10% chance for rain. Cannot rule out maybe there's a quick little shower in a few spots. This is a minimal threat. I think this model's overdoing it just a tad. This is nothing that's really going to be able to sustain itself very well. So if you do see rain, it's going to be very brief, going to be light in nature, nothing that's really going to ruin your outdoor plans. Heading into Sunday, it doesn't look too different. Our locked pattern just continues, so high temps back close to 80. 10% chance for rain. I would imagine most of us stay dry, and then heading into next week is when we start to see temperatures just a little bit warmer. Now over the next week, we're not expecting anything more than 1/4 of an inch of rain, so we are going to be in a little bit of a dry spell here as we end the month of April and bring in the month of May. You can see where the wet weather is going to be found the next week, so that's going to be where that front stays parked, and that unfortunately is going to bring them just flooding risks, severe weather risks, just a lot of weather hazards across the Central Plains. But once again, for us, less than 1/4 of an inch. So we actually are due for some rain. We could use it. Fortunately, there's just not a ton in our forecast at the moment. Want to take a look at the lake forecast. Whether you're heading up to Clarks Hill Lake, or maybe you're heading over to a different part of Lincoln County, maybe over to Graves Mountain. If you haven't heard of Graves Mountain before, Hallie Turner actually did a story on this today. It is a private piece of land. They only open it up twice a year, but it attracts rock hounds from around the entire world. She was actually talking to someone that drove all the way from Ontario, Canada, to drive to Lincoln County to go check out Graves Mountain, because they're only going to be open this weekend. It's only a few times a year they do open up the property for the public to come out, dig, see if they can find some rutile is the ideal thing people are looking for, a very precious gem. That a little history for you. At that piece of property in Lincoln County, the person that used to own it actually used to mine rutile for Tiffany and Company. So Blue Box Tiffany, the big jewelry company, they actually have roots in Lincoln County from mining rutile. Pretty crazy story behind this place. But whether you're heading to the lake, Graves Mountain, we got the Columbia County Fair in town this closing out the weekend too. So a lot of fun stuff going on across the area. Hopefully you can get outside and enjoy it. And also Fishing for Futures fishing tournament is Saturday at Wildwood Park. They're going to have their weigh-in at 3 p.m. at Wildwood, and I believe they're going to have food trucks, some vendors there, so should be a good time if you want to go see some good fish being weighed up at Clarks Hill. Our weekend temperatures will just be a couple degrees warmer here in Augusta, most likely highs close to 80 degrees. Not much rain. We'll still hang on to a few clouds, but luckily rain looks minimal for outdoor activities. Next week is when we get the 90s back. Now, we haven't technically hit 90 yet at Busch Field. We've been able to hit 90 at Daniel Field, but I would imagine we have a lot better opportunities to see more 90s across the board heading into the month of May. It's not only the first week of May, but it looks like even into the second week we are going to see above average temperatures across a good portion of the country. So looks like we're saying goodbye to cool temps for the foreseeable future. Our temps will stay average and then get back above average past the weekend. So not a bad 7-day forecast for getting outside. It's a busy time of year with a lot of fun events going on. So thankfully, we don't have to worry about any storms around. But hopefully you have a great night and a great weekend. We'll see you later tonight on News 12 at 11.